Welcome to Take 20 of the Unedited Series podcast, where we choose to live boldly and courageously, embracing a life that is unedited. Here we show up as our most authentic selves in a world that applauds inauthenticity and majority thinking. I'm your host, Rontiade Benson Idahosa. I'm a peacemaking light worker and a lover of justice. And in this take, we're talking 10 things that I know to be true. Divine lessons from life's unedited outtakes. And so, fam, I just had a birthday this week, and so I've had a lot of time to reflect. I've been in reflective mode, right? I am so deeply humbled by the beauty, the grace, and the light that illuminates my life. Yeah, but not too many people know of my road less traveled, right? It's been one that has been paved with some of the deepest sorrows, right? But also graced with joy unspeakable. You see, every valley has shaped me. Every mountain has called me higher to who I am, doing what I came to do. And so, fam, here's what I know to be true. Number one is that God is within us, right? Yeshua assured us that the kingdom of God is within us. And so divinity is not external to us. It is an ever-present reality that's within. Seeking God is not about looking outward, right? But awakening to the divine presence that is already within. Greg Braden, who's one of my favorites, speaks of our ability to transcend apparent limitations as divinity. And Yeshua actually demonstrates this truth, right? We're not separate from God. We are expressions of divine consciousness in form. And so it is our obligation, our divine responsibility to awaken to what has always been. And so the question I want you to ask yourself here is, when have I felt the presence of God within me? Number two, oneness with God is our true nature. Yeshua says that I and the Father are one, right? So there, Yeshua's not claiming exclusive divinity. He was showing us what is also possible for us, right? He embodied the truth of divine oneness and invited us to do the same. And so when we awaken, we actually realize that we are never separate from God. We were never separate, actually. And so I'll share this with you, fam. On my birthday, which was March 8th, Source reminded me that not only do I go ahead of you, I go with you, but I also go as you, right? And so this statement speaks to the deepest truth of oneness, that there is no separation between us and God. Separation is actually an illusion. Oneness is the reality. And so we're not just accompanied by divine presence. We are an expression of it. Rumi puts it this way: you are not a drop in the ocean, you're the entire ocean in a drop. And so the question that I have for you on this one is, how would your life change if you fully embraced your oneness with God? Number three, love is the highest law. The greatest of these is love, right? So we're called to love God and we're called to love people as ourselves. I love this quote by Rumi: your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. And so you see, the call to love God, the call to love people, is more than a command. It is a divine revelation that is the foundation of all existence. To love your neighbor as yourself is to recognize that you and your neighbor are one. Love is not just an emotion. It is the highest frequency in essence, the divine fabric that holds all of things together. And so when all else fades away, love remains. It is the one law that truly matters. And so the question I have for you here is, where in your life can you love more deeply? Number four, you are a divine being, right? Yeshua says in John 10:34, is it not written in your law, I have said that ye are gods? Right? A lot of people struggle with accepting this reality, but we're not merely human. We are divine consciousness expressing itself in form. We are made in God's image, Genesis 1:27, but most people actually live unaware of this truth. They are trapped in limitation. You see, Yeshua came not to make himself the exception, but to show us what is possible. He reminded us of our divine origin and our potential to awaken to higher consciousness. He even said that the works that I do, you shall do also, and greater works than these shall you do. Yeshua came to awaken us to this truth, right? We are meant to embody divine wisdom, love, and power. It is not until we awaken to our divine nature that we step fully into our true potential. And so the question I have for you here is, what would you do differently if you truly believed that you are divine? Number 5, consciousness shapes reality. Yeshua says, be it unto you according to your faith. And so here, Yeshua was teaching quantum principles long before science actually caught up. Because what we assume, we become. Our beliefs shape our experience. Faith is not just about rituals and religion. It is the act of placing energy and certainty into what it is that we desire. And so the question to ask is, where does your consciousness lie? The Dhammapada says that all that we are is the result of what we have thought. And so, for example, abundance is always all around us, right? What you choose to focus on becomes your reality. And so you become abundant in that reality. So if your reality is scarcity or lack, then you are abundant in scarcity or lack. If, on the other hand, you believe in the benevolence of the universe towards you, then you become abundant in that. And so at the end of the day, reality is actually not fixed. It bends to consciousness. And so what you deeply believe, you create. Again, the question is, where does your consciousness lie? What identity-forming beliefs are shaping your life right now, and are they serving you? Number 6, death is not the end. Life is eternal. Because the truth is we never die, right? So beyond physical immortality, we are an eternal consciousness. And when you finally awaken to that divine truth, you transcend fear, right? Including the fear of death. You realize that life does not begin at birth or end at death. It simply transmutes, it changes form. And so the question that I want you to ask yourself here is, how would you live if you truly knew that life is eternal? Number 7, surrender is power. It's not weakness. It is the path to divine flow. Sufi wisdom encourages us to be like a hollow reed through which the breath of God flows. This aligns with my word for the year, surrender. To surrender is not to give up. It is to align and to merge with infinite power. It is to trust divine flow, divine orchestration over egoic control. You see, we step into our full power when we move in alignment with life rather than forcing or manipulating it. It is so important that we recognize that what the Bible refers to as the fruit of the Spirit, love, joy, peace, patience, right? That's our natural flow state. Any other lower vibrational emotions that we emit are actually unnatural to us, right? And so when we align with that reality is when we actually become powerful. The question that I want you to ask yourself here is, what in my life am I still trying to control that needs to be surrendered? Number 8, generational trauma can end in one lifetime, ours, right? We do not have to inherit pain and dysfunction or limitation. You see, the patterns that our ancestors passed down do not have to be our destiny. Through self-awareness, through healing, through the embodiment of divine truth, we can actually break cycles and create new paradigms. The question to ask yourself here is, what was passed down to me unconsciously that can be healed consciously? Number 9, truth is not bound by religion. You see, divine truth is actually not confined to one religion. God is beyond form, beyond labels, beyond walls. God is actually still speaking even in this moment. And so you cannot restrict God in dogma. And so when we seek truth, right, we must step beyond indoctrination and make what Wayne Dyer referred to as conscious contact. We must move from believing to knowing. We must move from indoctrination to relationship. And so the question to ask yourself here is, are you seeking truth, or are you seeking confirmation of what you already believe? And finally, authenticity is divine power. The unedited life is the only life that is worth living. Fam, your identity is not something to find. It is something that you remember. To live boldly, courageously, and unapologetically is not just a personal choice. It is a spiritual act, an obligation even. Authenticity is not rebellion, fam. It is alignment. And when you're not living in your authenticity, you are misaligned. And that misalignment will always be restless. When you embrace who you truly are, you move in the power of divine truth, because authenticity is the highest frequency in embodiment. Fam, the truth is you cannot be truly powerful and inauthentic at the same time. Yeshua was crucified not for fitting in, but for standing fully in his truth. Likewise, every awakened being in history has had to choose between external approval and divine embodiment. Your power lies in your authenticity. You guys hear me say that all the time. When you edit yourself to please the world, you deny the truth of who you actually are. When you live unedited, you walk in the fullness of your divine identity and nature. And so the question, the takeaway here is, where in your life are you being fully authentic, and where are you holding back? So yes, fam, those are what I know to be absolute truth. And so the question that I want to ask you as we wrap up today is, what is one truth that you know deep in your own soul? I'd love to hear it in the comments. Those are my thoughts of the day. Do with them as you will. Grace, peace, blessings.